Make it make sense. We confused, y'all.
Hey, my name is Alexis Lopez, and you're watching Pop Culture Oppression Obsession. And during this era of COVID, we're trying something new. We're having some conversations with folks who are friends of Pop Culture Oppression Obsession, who are in different professions and different communities. And we're asking pop culture questions to them. Some folks are activists, some folks are hairstylists, some folks are laypersons, some folks are les miserables. But we really are excited about having some conversations. As always, we'll throw up maybe some terms, maybe some articles. We'll make sure that it's, a conversation that has something to do with the popular culture that is current, but also that stands the test of time. So thanks for joining us. This episode, we're going to talk with Jar Dizzle, who hosts her own vlog called Make It Make Sense. And we're going to have a little conversation about topics that are of interest to her, and also to help make it make sense to our Pop Culture Oppression Obsession watchers and listeners. So thanks very much for joining, and we'll get on to it.
Let's talk a little bit about the, I want to preface this a little bit. I hate the idea and term of cancel culture.
Oh, cancel culture is the best!
And it's because the who, especially in my little sphere, who use it, they don't understand that there's no such thing.
Cancel! Hashtag cancel! You know it's real with a hashtag in front of it.
Yep. And there's this, I'll put the link into the article that I'm talking about here. But there's this article that really went into nice detail talking about how the idea of cancel culture, some of our most caustic societal interactions can be laid at the feet of big tech, of social media. Because the way that Facebook arranges what we see is all driven by money. It's all driven by the bottom line. It's like, well, I got to keep you guys confused, destabilized, and buying. I got to make sure that your data is sent here. I got to make sure that you're buying these products for the sponsor. And in the meantime, we're sitting here going, oh, here, did you heard it here on the Times Square? Did you hear the latest news? And it's like, yeah, I did. But then here's the thing, right? Is we, of course, the left gets blamed because they say, well, you're just living in an echo chamber. And it's like, hey, we're all living in an echo chamber. And those of us who are not critical thinkers, who are not information rich, when you have to go digging for stuff. It's funny because I know a bunch of my friends who happen to be men and happen to be white, who are all, well, you'll never know the virtue of a good conversation with someone who has the opposite opinions as you. So you're keeping an open mind by knowing conservative and close-minded people. And it's like, I want you to understand something. For those of us for whom the very idea of having to listen over and over again to their points of view that dehumanize us, their points of view that keep us oppressed, just so that we can, let's keep a dialogue. It's like, wait, who are we dialoguing with? The people that are already kicking us. And that false equivalency is a part of cancel culture. It's the heart of cancel culture.
That is the whitest thing I've ever heard.
Yep.
You benefit from knowing from knowing me as a closed-minded, conservative, restrictive, racist motherfucker. I enrich you because I widen your spectrum of knowledge by spewing the garbage that comes out of my mouth.
Exactly, right?
You're welcome for my whole comments.
That's all being fed by this idea, this false equivalency that we keep giving these things, right? We keep saying, well, the white supremacist over here who wants to you in the head, he should have his say, and you can go, of course, tell him he's wrong, but he should be able to be wrong. And you go, dehumanization does not get an audience.
I gotta say, man, that is the whitest, and I love the voice, by the way. I know that you feel some type of way about having voices.
Well, you actually gave me permission.
I do. The voice.
I needed it.
They sell the story so good. That's the craziest. I mean, make that make sense. So because,
yeah, okay.
So honestly, I should be able to be a bigot in your life because you don't have other ones.
Yeah.
I enrich your information and your brain content by you knowing me and knowing what the conservative mindset is, because it's not like you can think stupid on your own. I have to give it to you.
Exactly.
Welcome.
Yep. Well, I'll tell you what, that is actually the opinion. And they, gosh, once again, I happen to be white and I happen to be male. That is an opinion of several people in my sphere, right? Where they're kind of like, first you're making a false binary. Like you just took all of this experience of suffering and then made it a conservative liberal thing. It's like, you. Do you think both sides don't believe in not killing? We're supposed to all believe that, right? So don't give me this left-right binary bullshit.
What about everybody in the middle? What I enjoy a lot about cancel culture, like most things, is it was originated in the Black community.
Yep.
And then was colonized by Black people. If these get subtitles, I would prefer that white was spelled W-Y-T. White. That's what I wanted.
W-Y-T?
White.
Okay.
White. So that way it's like, white. You know what I mean? So
I do.
It originated in the Black community. Black Twitter came up with it, and it was all about just not supporting businesses or artists or companies that were racist. Like it's actually a movement that had levels to it and meant something. Like every fucking thing we come up with.
Yeah, every complex thing that you want to. Yeah.
Then it got colonized by the Black folks, and now it's just like a marketing tool, a white noise machine, a way to sell money.
White noise machine, yeah.
Like a way to kind of group and manipulate folks into buying shit that they wouldn't normally buy. Linking different communities with other companies that they normally wouldn't get to. Just like propaganda shit, really. That's what I like most about cancel culture. It's just like yet another example of shit that's ours, that the white folks have taken, manipulated, distorted so grossly, and then spewed back into the community. And now it's this thing that everybody hates because you just ruined shit.
And I'm like, cool, but don't blame us when we stay a little angry at your inability to understand what cancel culture is for.
So honestly, maybe that makes sense. Because
you named the mechanism. That one can't make sense. It makes sense already. Like you actually did it right. They say it.
I feel like these tech companies where they come up with these marketing schemes and these marketing ideas. Obviously, they don't have like a Dwayne or a Lamar or a Tyrone in there. They got a bunch of Jims, Jacobs, and Johns.
You're actually speaking to my heart. Absolutely, because you know what they say? Go ahead, I'm so sorry.
Who basically, like, they sift through Twitter and they sift through Instagram, they sift through Facebook, they find some cool shit that a bunch of Black kids are doing, then they add in a little here, take a little.
What are those? Yeah. Been fighting that fight for years.
Get the numbers they want, put that shit on some graphs, and put it in a spreadsheet, and wow, they're old ass bosses, and boom, now it's a system. And I'm like, it is literally
that is why I will never buy a Nike shoe ever. I would never buy a shoe by Nike.
It's easy for them to colonize, completely deconstruct, and manipulate something that completely distorts messages, has dangerous connotations, and we're all like falling for it constantly.
Well, I don't feel like you're falling for it. I don't feel like I'm falling for it. I feel like
the masses are falling for it.
But here's why. Because the one thing, it's weird because I keep saying this, and I'm not a Marxist, but I do believe that on the oppressed end of people. Huh?
You always say you're not a Marxist, and you say a Marxist thing afterwards, and then you talk about how you.
I guess it's because I'm not a socialist. Let's just say I'm in the fan club. I don't have a tattoo. I don't have a Karl Marx tattoo, but I'm in the fan club.
I go to the meetings, but I don't talk.
Oh my god! But dig this. So here's the thing about an old-fashioned boycott. And here's why old J.K. Rowling with her, I can't believe the cancel culture's come from me and I made magic for the world. And you go,
You didn't make magic for the world. I'm so disappointed.
that's why I'm disappointed. Yeah, you set me up. Man, that's falling in love. And then...
But it's like the actors were saying, Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Stone, the story belongs to the fans. We don't all have to hate Harry Potter just because J.K. Rowling turned out to be a gremlin.
Yeah, here's my counter to that. And I'm sorry, but here's my counter to that. I reserve the right to throw away any milk that spoils. Straight up. And if I do so choose that this milk has spoiled, none of you all motherfuckers is allowed to tell me it's not. Because that you don't have the attuned spoilage sense nose that I have. And for me, I'm going to be honest with you, that milk is curdled. And I will no longer drink it.
So is the milk curdled or the cake that the milk was put in to make?
No, the farm got syphilis and gave the milk the runs, and I had it down my throat. So here's what happened. Anywhere up this chain, because I want you to remember something. The wizarding world is a for-profit product. All of it. The material product, everything. I reserve the right to decide against any product.
So good.
Divest myself of that. Stop it. to divest myself.
Still gets my money. Still gets my money to this day.
So I have no one to talk to about this. This is why we work together. This is why we work so well. But okay, so better dig this. So what I'm saying though, sorry to take this one down, is that an old-fashioned groundswell from the ground up of people who have been hurt by something, i.e. the trans community, to come up and say, hey, that milk is curdled. The maker itself cannot be separated from the art. And I love that. I don't separate artists from art, period. Never have. And I know everyone goes, well, a monster can make an enlightened piece of art. And you go, what, by accident, though? So this guy the off of human beings, but he made this beautiful piece of art. No. A villain throws villain into their villainy. And if that happens to be beautiful to you, then that's okay. But don't judge me when I say that is a villainous piece made by a villainous person who told me that my friends are faking it, that they're dysmorphic, that all of this crap, when I know that my friends are good, fucking intelligent, complex people.
They sure are.
And she curdled that milk.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
Over here. Harry Potter. Over here. Love it! Harry Potter! Woo! Money. Still in it. It helped me so much through my high school years, my college years.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, and I'm not saying that you can't have good memories of milk.
Yeah, I certainly do.
So have your good memories of milk. You buy new milk, it's on you. You now know the farm that is getting money from that milk.
I buy new milk.
Do it. That's on you. That's fine. I'm not saying that's why I can't ever do.
Buy new milk. You also buy Disney shit. That's like the worst.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. And so
it's
for
like
me,
a million times worse than J.K. Rowling.
Absolutely. But you know what they're doing this year? They're not denying being a TERF. They are also taking Splash Mountain, the old racist.
Oh my God!
People for. They're removing it finally from Disneyland, and they're replacing it with. There's another show that I didn't see, but it was about a young lady of color, and then. Actually, I have an episode of PopCOO about Disneyland and how it's not good. Because see, here's the thing, and I'm going to go on the record. Because I grew up Mexican in LA, when it was relatively cheap to go, Disneyland is a part of the cultural DNA, right?
Yeah.
And so I find that at this deepest of all levels, it bypasses a lot of my morality. Where I sit there and I go, oh. And here's the thing. When I went down to Disneyland last, I was surrounded by thousands of Mexicans. Yeah. Like, that's mostly who goes. They got fucking cuidado con sus niños. It's got this parts, even the safety things are in Spanish too.
Yeah, they have.
And
Spanish
there's Mexican food. So it's funny to have this really mild concession. But I'll tell you, when was the last time that you were surrounded by 7,000 or 8,000 other black people?
Surrounded by 7,000 or 8,000 other black people?
Eating good food, smiling genuinely, having a worry-free time.
When I was at Afropunk 2 years ago?
Nice, because mine was last year at Disneyland for the Mexicans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, it's that kind of, and it gives me this warm feeling. But it's unfortunately this warm feeling that has with it, well, I want to remember my favorite ride, right? Well, how do you remember? We live in the artifact age, so I get myself this little glow box that is, you know, the haunted lady from the card room, you know, and I bring it home. And I go, well, you just bought Disney. Here's where I'm a piece of shit. When I look over in the middle of the night and I'm having a nightmare, and on my end table, this is a statue, right, of Robin Hood from Disney. When I look over, and that gives me a feeling of calm, it gives me a feeling of healing, it gives me a feeling of quiet and content. What are we doing?
I'm going to go upstairs so that my house family can watch TV.
Are you being a bad family member?
No, I'm going upstairs.
Oh, okay.
I was being bad earlier.
All right, so let's say our last words on cancel culture.
Okay.
My last words. Okay, here's my last word. My last word on cancel culture is this. We did not create this platform. This platform was meant to get humans together so that they would buy things from the platform. They were brought together for money as the bottom object. Any kind of community that we make around it, we are barnacles on the wood from a dock. That is not meant for us. We're just using that. If we want to create our own actual made for people social media, we have to make it. These fools are just trying to make money off of us. So that being said, if I want to cancel some fool like Roseanne or somebody who spouts off in a way that dehumanizes and degrades people, then I'm going to do it because that's the bottom swell. And it's one of the only powers that we have left. If you feel canceled, here's the solution. It's 3 simple things if you feel canceled. 1, look inward. 2, apologize. And 3, if you're a big business, hire an ethics and equity person. Hire someone that you can run it through. That they can say, oh, if you say that, you realize that there was a 1967 massacre or, you know, this kind of stuff, right? Somebody who actually is there to help you be a part of your corporate community. If you're not willing to do that, then you. Sorry, go ahead. And your final thoughts.
So, my final thoughts, big tech companies, it's time to hire some Jermaines, some Dwaynes, some Leroys, some Daquans, because it sounds like you guys need help. There's only so much of it is deemed appreciation and collaboration with local communities. And what you want to try and reframe that kind of, what you're doing is stealing. You're culturally appropriating something. Yeah. You're using something. You're taking something without giving credit. And you know that. And we know you know that. And it's tiring having to see this continue to happen when you keep spouting out messages about how Facebook cares about their Black employees. Walmart cares about their Black employees. Target cares about their Black employees. I mean, Amazon cares about Black employee. You care so much that you strategically keep stealing from my community and marketing off of it without actually giving anything back to that community. So you wouldn't have gotten this cancel culture without us. Instead of calling it cancel culture, just call it Black culture, because that's what you're doing. I think cancel culture is great. I love it. I think it's great because the original thing about cancel culture was hey, Roseanne is canceled because she is a racist. Let's stop supporting her. When we group together locally, globally, together as one, and want to stop supporting somebody because they're benefiting off of our dollar, but also spouting garbage about us, and stop supporting that person so that they are canceled. That's great. Anything outside of that, you. Okay.
Hey, thank you so much. I want to say thank you to Jar Dizzle from Make It Make Sense. There is no voice like yours, and I cherish the opportunity to be able to pick your brain a little bit. You know, you always come with receipts, and I absolutely appreciate that.
Always have to say.
Yeah. And if you're watching this, thank you so much. Once again, this is Alexis Lopez for Pop Culture Oppression Obsession, and we'll be here whenever popular culture is used against us. Thanks for tuning in.